Just realised I'd been playing the game slightly wrong. I was browsing the rules and I discovered that when leaders are put in reserve, then they have to, such as this one, if they do not move on interception in a game turn, they then are flipped back out of reserve at the end of the turn. And I discovered that because I was just thinking, haha, I just discovered it because also in relation to browsing the rules, I discovered that either player can do an interception. So what that means is that, say if this fellow was in reserve and this fellow is activated, he could move out 1, 2, 3, and then I can shout, and I'm intercepting with my own fellow, 1, 2, 3. So then I would get 2 activations in a sense for the price of 1. Although, well, essentially what it means is I'm moving, I'd already had that activation in the turn, but I can coordinate their movement. So it's not 2 for the price of 1, but it's a coordination which otherwise wouldn't be possible. So normally you would think, okay, he's moved, now he calls interception, 1, 2, 3, okay, you can't quite intercept. And it doesn't say in the rules that you have to fight an interception. When both pairs announce reserve movement. So any result in combat is resolved. So he might move out in reserve, and then I might decide to move him up in reserve, something like that. Even so, one activation could result in quite a lot of movements. And then it occurred to me as I was playing it, I thought, right, if he was in reserve at the end of last turn, that's how you can build up a massive operation. Get guys close, build them up in reserve. Then you just move one unit and then move, say he's in reserve too, you move the others with him. And then I discovered, no, you can't do that because at the end of the turn you come out of reserve. So that was an important point to note because I thought I'd found a strategy that could have been quite powerful if you'd been able to pull it off, but it's not possible unless it happens by chance via the activations, which leads me to the next thing. I did the calculations on the activation table, and as I understand it, you've got each number from 1-1 to 6-6 has an equal chance of coming up. So within that, what we have the Hussein side, the Saud side, then the Ikhvan, and the 3 independent leaders. And we find that Abdulaziz comes up 4 times, so he's the most common, as we might expect. The smaller force is the more active force. Then next comes Muhammad on the Saud side, Hussein, the leader of the Hussein side, and Saud ibn Rashid on the Hussein side. They both have 3 activations possibilities apiece. Then down on the Ikhvan side, they only have 3 leaders. In my game, Khalid's dead, which is a big loss because these 2 come up twice, at 3 times, and Sultan, the 3rd leader, only comes up twice. So going down the list on the Saud side, their next 2 fellows come up twice, and then on the Hussein side, all their other fellows come up twice. So they're quite equal, except for a couple of standouts, and Abdulaziz being a big standout. That's an important thing to do when you're organising probabilities for a possible attack. And that's what this game is going to be down to a lot. And I guess that is reflecting this feudal warfare, because you cannot depend in a feudal system on your vassals doing what you say. They might say, I don't think it's worth it, or no, we've got something better to do, or give me some more men and I will do it, or anything like that. And so I guess this is the kind of factors which these factions were operating with. So I think as a game, this is modelling an interesting situation in a very neat and simple way. And as I go on, I'm going to see if it is possible to mount any kind of a coordinated attack, or at least a probabilistically coordinated attack. I think that's what we're going to try and do something like that from here to here, or possibly to here. And I guess there will be attempted counter-attack, if not a preemptive strike from the opposite side. We'll see. We'll see. So in the game I'm playing, we're on the 6th turn, and Faisal on the Saud side activated first. He's gone into reserve, and the Hussein side, Hussein decides they're building up and going to cut things out before they go any further, so they're not going to take any activations except for a single one, and he's trying to activate his son Faisal to come and reinforce Medina here. He needs a 1 to 3. No, that is a shame, because Faisal is one of his combat leaders with a combat bonus. So that's all the Husseini activations for this turn. So because he's trying to build up attacks on the Saud side, Abdul needs to keep rolling his activations. Otherwise he could just say move his stack, but he's decided to change his attack here to Medina, and because it's less heavily defended than this place here, but he's going to need probably more than just what he's got. Oh, it's so risky, because he could move out, but then he might get stuck in the middle in the tundra and lose and have to come back for more recruits. Okay, anyway, he's rolling an activation. 63. Khalid on the Ikvan, so he's dead. That's not going, that's wasted. 52. That's Saud. Okay, he's going to go into reserve on the Husseini side. $51. Ali on the Husseini side. Ali is this fellow here. So he's going to go into reserve. Not that he needs it. 3 more activations. 35. Mohammed, again the Husseinis. That's this time Mohammed here. So he will go into reserve too. And 3 more. 36. Abdullah on the Husseini side. That's him here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. He's reached Medina after being stuck out there for a while. And finally 65. Mohammed on the Saud side. And Mohammed is here. So 1, 2, 3. And that was it for that game turn. So there's not much change. What we're going to find is a bit of attrition, a bit of recruitment. I'm beginning to have my doubts about this game now, because so at the end of that last turn, we just had some attrition, and then we regained forces back on recruitment, so there wasn't really any change there. The only change was on the political table. The Husseini have gained an ally here, Yemen. So they might move, but there's only a 1 in 36 chance of that ever happening. But I think those points might then count. I don't know if they count towards. No, they don't count towards the maximum army side. Says I'm sure. I'm not sure, but probably not. Why is it that often we play like that? We don't check the rules, even when there's only sort of 4 pages of rules in this one. It still sometimes seems too much of a bother to check. We just go ahead with how we think it is or how we want it to be. Anyway, so what I was saying was, so the next turn happened, turn number 7, and the Husseinis had decided to keep up with their tactic of retrieving all of their possible activations and just moving one fellow. And last time I decided to activate Husseini to try, and it was silly, so I just activated Faisal straight away. He's moved over here, so he's a combat leader, so he's helping the defence there. They kind of got equal forces more or less here and here, because there's 3 leaders that the other 2 won't count in combat. So they're just completely on defensive, and so the Saud sort of thought, okay, well, we didn't last turn. We wanted Abdul to move, and he didn't get a roll at all, even with 7 activations. 3 chances out of 36. So what's that? A 10th of a chance with 7 activations. Yeah, you're not really sort of probability of it ever definitely happening a turn. So we thought, okay, we'll do the same. They took just 1 activation and they moved the Ikvan fellow onto the road, and I'm assuming that counts as a Saud unit on a road. No, it's not going to, is it? Because they're not Saud units, they're Saud allies. Okay, scrap that. 1, 2, 3. Oh, where was it? So it would have been there. 1, 2, 3. He was there. So I'll do it another way around and make it 1, 2, 3. So he's moving towards there. So at the end of next turn, we will start getting, the Saud player will start getting political points instead of the Hussein for the road. And then that will force them to move some off here, and then we might see how it goes. But yeah, I'm starting to doubt the game because we're on turn 7 and there's only 15 turns. Maybe if I'd done something like, I don't know, I moved quite quick. The Saud moved quite quick from there. I don't see how they're going to get a chance of automatic victory. So their only other chance is, considering that while they're sort of moving to get stuff, the Hussein player's already getting political points just for having possession of the road. So he gets political points for doing nothing, which brings this over to his side. We need it over to the far end of that side. It's a long way off. So we could go for the maximum army side as the Saud player, but the Hussein player starts off at such a bonus. They're kind of like 10 points, 9 points ahead. And they started off more or less like that. It's going to be a tough job for the Saud. No, okay, so I've got to check for Ikvan disapproval as well, because they didn't get any activation that turn. They didn't take a city. They should have taken 3. They've only taken 2. They've only taken 1. So they go up to +3. We roll the die. That's a 2. They go neutral. So now they are neutral. They're not allied to the Saud side at all. And I think that means that they sort of NPC player. They could attack either side. I'll check that.